Well, Aaron, thanks for having me. I was very pleased to hear that the count of the ballots by the cyber ninjas came out almost exactly as the count came out for Maricopa County. So that was very encouraging. I was frankly surprised by that. But what I was discouraged by is the fact that this afternoon-long hearing that you've been hearing about is basically the cyber ninjas. It's like we're watching reruns on TV. These are the same sorts of things that they've been throwing out there for months, half-truths, misinformation, and
Yeah.
allegations that have already been debunked.
So let me just go through a few of them because you're right. I mean, the bottom line is the bottom line, that no matter how hard they tried, they confirmed that Joe Biden won the state. In fact, they increased the number of votes that he received according to their count. But then they go through everything else. So they make claims in the report about things they say went wrong. They say they found 10,342 potential voters who voted in multiple counties. They say the county signature verifications weren't done correctly. They say the election management database was purged. The list goes on and on. These are some of the things, no doubt, you're referring to. But Trump, of course, jumping on it, trying to do anything to turn away from the actual vote count bottom line and calling for the attorney general to investigate. What do you say to all of these allegations?
Yeah, so again, these allegations have been debunked before. We're doing that through live tweeting, debunking it again. And here's the other thing to keep in mind, Aaron. Many of these things were raised back before, back in 2020, when there were lawsuits that were brought by the Trump campaign and others, alleging that the election should not have been certified. And here's a big difference, Aaron. Back then, people were forced to go under oath when they went into court. This morning, I called on Karen Fann to put these witnesses under oath today. Of course, she didn't. So these have been easily debunked, but more than that, these folks are not under oath. And, I hate to go there, but we know that the people who are involved, the cyber ninjas, they came into this with preconceived notions. They've already stated they believe that the election was stolen from Donald Trump back in November of 2020, and they're going to continue forward with these type of allegations that are baseless.
I mean, it's incredible because, they're trying now to spend all this time emphasizing the allegations. Again, I come back to the fact that no matter how hard they tried, given all of their preconceived notions and allegations and the charges they've leveled that have been thoroughly debunked, that they still came up with Joe Biden winning and, in fact, increased the margin. And that is the ultimate conclusion of the report. You can't change that. I know you have all this other BS going on the side. Do you, bottom line, think this will change the minds of any of the Republicans? As I point out, 78% of registered Republicans, they believe that Joe Biden is illegitimate. And many of them, obviously support Trump's claims in Arizona.
Right. Well, I'm not sure where people are going to end up, but this should be something that can really start to turn the tide. Because again, this is a vote count that was done by the cyber ninjas, and they found the numbers to be almost exactly as we found them in Maricopa County, as you said, confirming that Joe Biden won. I know I'm a bit of an optimist, but I believe that this could be the beginning of the end of the big lie. But what we need to really accomplish this is now have our elected officials, Republican elected officials, like we've done in Maricopa County, stand up, leaders here in the state, and say, okay, this needs to come to an end. Joe Biden won. It's time to move on.
All right. I appreciate your time, Bill. Thank you very much. Glad to talk to you again.
Thank you.
And I want to go now to Gabe Sterling. He is also a Republican, a top Georgia election official during the 2020 election. You know him from that, and you'll remember that he publicly stood up to Donald Trump for pushing baseless voter fraud conspiracies and gave this chilling warning.
Someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to get shot, someone's going to get killed. And it's not right. It's not right.
That prediction sadly came true over a month later during the deadly insurrection on January 6th. Gabe, I appreciate your time tonight. I actually want to start with you on what Bill Gates from Arizona just said, Republican on the Maricopa Elections Board. He said he hopes, despite everything, that this is the beginning of the end of the big lie. Do you share that hope?
Listen, I've had that hope for months and months and months. I mean, we did a hand tally in Georgia, and we said, okay, this should end it. This should be over. What I do think is, at some point, all these Republicans who are upset with the outcome of the election when they've been all hearing Trump's going to come back, it'll be March, it'll be May, it'll be, June, it'll be November. At some point, you have to realize if you want to have your values shared in the future, you have to focus on the future and not on the past. And hopefully, you have people like you said earlier, they were doing everything they could to make sure that Donald Trump won the election in their review, and they still couldn't do it because paper ballots are the best thing in the history of mankind to show, guess what? Your guy lost, our guy won for them. I mean, my guy lost. I voted for Trump. I am not happy with the Biden administration, what they've been doing, but guess what? That's what happens in a republic and in a democracy. So is it going to, over time, bit by bit, day by day, I'm kind of like my friend from Maricopa County. I have faith and I have optimism that eventually people will say, you know what? I can't focus on that anymore. I got to focus on the future.
So that, I bring up Mike Lindell, and I bring him up because, he's out there and he's spreading this, and it's like you sort of want to laugh and roll your eyes, and yet 78% of registered Republicans don't think Joe Biden is the president of the United States. I mean, this is the terrifying reality. So Mike Lindell, as you know, has been pushing the lie and continues to do it day by day. And today he went on a podcast with the former Trump advisor, Steve Bannon. I wanted to play this exchange for you, Gabe.
If you're a politician and you're running for office, you know what? If you're not thinking about fixing 2020 first, you're not going to win anyway, and shame on you. If you don't know Donald Trump won that election, you've been living in a cave, and you're not going to win. I have committed to that. I've said since February, since absolute proof, that we're getting this all the evidence I have to the Supreme Court. That will be done before Thanksgiving. That's in stone.
Gabe, how do you even deal with this, given that it does reverberate and have power?
I don't know. It's you sit back and you look at these things and you're like, okay, I feel so bad for you that you feel this way, that you've been lied to this hard. And here's the problem. There are millions and millions of good, hardworking, take care of their kids, God-fearing Americans who listen to this and want to believe it, because it's kind of like the 1972 thing when Nixon won and they talked to a woman in Manhattan and said, I don't know anybody that voted for him. It's the same thing, but more aggravated and more angry. And Lindell is just off on his own thing. Talking about a cave, he's on a different planet. We all know this. I mean, on some level, I actually feel sorry for the man because he was a sort of American story of success. And he's throwing away millions and millions of dollars to con artists who are telling him these things. I mean, it's kind of like Rudy Giuliani talking to the president, saying over and over again, you've been cheated, you've been duped, this is all happening. And the president wanted to hear that, so he believed it. And it's just terrifying to a degree. But what we have to do, and I'm frustrated because this has happened on the right this time, and in my state on the left last time, we need grown-ups to say, guess what? There are times in life when you lose. Maybe this goes back to kids all getting trophies for participating. I don't know. But the main thing is you're going to lose sometimes and you're going to win sometimes. And it's not the end of the world either way. And yes, listen, I was a political consultant and I'm probably guilty of this at some level. In my life, I ran campaigns and there was situations where and as both sides do this, if the other guy wins, they're going to burn your family. And then the other side says, if the other side wins, they're going to burn your family. After a while, the American people believe if the other side wins, they're going to burn their family. And we have to get to a point where it's like, you know what? We need to take things away from DC, at the local level, focus on those things, and not have our soul and life wrapped up in these things. And maybe then they will understand that there's millions of Americans and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who run elections who are honest, fair individuals. And what we've seen in Arizona and in Georgia, the same kind of things we see in every election, where there's a few things that happen here and there that, you know what, maybe a person didn't sign a document right. Maybe a person didn't, do the chain of custody 100% correct. It doesn't mean you throw out 4,000 to 3,000 votes. It doesn't mean you do.
Yeah.
These people they're following the law, they're following the rules, they're exercising their right to vote in America. And the thing is, you know what I want? I want high turnouts and wide margins. That way we can avoid these things. The problem is we have states like Arizona and Georgia, we have high turnouts and close margins, and we're going to have these kind of fights. So we have to pass laws like we passed in Georgia that will give credit and credence to these things without disenfranchising other people